Today's theory is sponsored by Crunchyroll. If you go to the link in the description, crunchyroll.com/NintendoBC, you can sign up for a 14-day free trial of Crunchyroll Premium. Crunchyroll Premium gives you a huge selection of shows to watch like Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, and My Hero Academia in 1080p HD and ad-free. One of the few things I do in my spare time is watch anime. A lot of anime. Thanks to Crunchyroll offering more than 90% of all officially licensed anime content in the world, there's always something new to watch. As someone who has a huge love for physics, one of my new favorite shows is Dr. Stone. It's kind of like science class, but, well, fun. There's also anime about sports, romance, and cooking? Awesome! All episodes on Crunchyroll are professionally subtitled and released as early as 1 hour after airing in Japan. One show I personally want to recommend is Tower of God, an ongoing series which I've been watching weekly. And you can too. Just go to the link in the description and sign up. That's crunchyroll.com/NintendoBC. It's weird to think that it's almost been a full year since Nintendo graced us with a trailer for Breath of the Wild sequel. There's been plenty of time to ponder on what this game may offer in terms of both story and gameplay, though the trailer has done a good job with giving us questions and no answers. Fast forward to the present, and I'm still going through this video shot by shot to find something, anything which I may have missed. And there are some subtle details I've picked up on recently. Today's video will cover the suspicious hand grasping the chest of, who we can assume is the King of Evil Ganondorf. The context of this situation is very difficult to grasp because the information given directs the viewer in multiple different directions. We're going to narrow it down to some of the most likely options, though if you have your own theories on the matter then feel free to post them down in the comments. Breath of the Wild's story was heavily focused onto opposing forces, the technology created by the Sheikah used to seal the Calamity 10,000 years ago, and malice, a substance which appears to be the source of Calamity Ganon's power. Its corruption led to the Guardians and Divine Beasts turning against the kingdom, bringing Hyrule to a swift and catastrophic end. The trailer for Breath of the Wild 2 introduces us to a substance not seen in the first game, what appears to be a flowing green energy emanating from the hand. Malice, the source of Ganondorf's power, Blue Sheikah technology, which Princess Zelda shows an interest in, and green energy from the trailer. These match with the colors which represent the three virtues of the Triforce, and its creators, Din, Nehru, and Furore. Same goes for the elemental dragons of Breath of the Wild, each one associated with its respective springs of power, wisdom, and courage. It's possible that the green energy, similar to that of the Malice and Sheikah fluid, is tied with the virtue of courage. In other words, Link. This brings up the possibility of the hand having a connection to the ancient hero of Impa's story. In the trailer, Link is shown fusing with this energy, his right hand turning into a similar shade of green. The ancient hero on the tapestry appears to have a greenish-yellow hand, a parallel to what we see happen in the sequel's trailer. Is Ganondorf being held down by the hand of the ancient hero? An interesting theory, but not without its flaws. The timeline of events contradict this idea as the Calamity first appeared in the battle 10,000 years ago. There's a good chance Ganondorf was sealed long before this battle, with his buildup of malice giving birth to the entity seen on the tapestry along with the present day. The chronological order of events creates a huge plot hole if this theory were to be true. Perhaps, similar to the Master Sword, this power of the seal is passed down from hero to hero, though even that feels like it's grasping at straws. The Calamity Ganon seen in Breath of the Wild is the result of a deep hatred, one that has festered for thousands of years, with its transformation into malice creating the monstrous entity which plagued the land of Hyrule for over a century. Calamity Ganon is described as a primal evil which has endured over the ages. It coincides with the very history of the royal family who established their monarchy on the surface post-Skyward Sword. It was the birth of both the royal family and the Demon King.
The history of the royal family of Hyrule is also the history of Calamity Ganon.
Ganon's refusal to give up on reincarnation is linked back to this curse, both metaphorically and literally. The ones who share the blood of the goddess and spirit of the hero are eternally bound to the demon tribe's curse. Breath of the Wild butchers its localization in the second phase of the final boss. Calamity Ganon had never given up on reincarnation, quite the opposite actually. It explains not only Breath of the Wild, but all titles which fall under the official timeline. The repeated revival of Ganon from the Fallen timeline, and Ganondorf's return in both Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. A cycle doomed to repeat itself until the end of times. Unless they were to somehow prevent the curse from continuing? The continual demise and rebirth of the Demon King leaves Hyrule in a state of vulnerability. A cycle of restoration, prosperity, and downfall. Most Zelda games make the player experience the downfall portion of this cycle. Breath of the Wild takes this further with its loss of the Kain, champions, and thousands of innocent lives. While there exists eras of prosperity, the destruction of Hyrule, similar to the rebirth of Ganon, is inevitable. With a kingdom as technologically advanced as the Sheikah 10,000 years ago, gifted with the sight of Goddess Hylia, it's not outside the realm of possibility to believe that there was an attempt at destroying the curse. Not to save themselves, but as a long-term goal to end the continual suffering of the realm and its citizens. The casualties of the Great Calamity were devastating, with most settlements destroyed. The royal family had every reason to work with the Sheikah, especially if it meant the end of the cycle. But if this cycle resets every time the evil is sealed away, how does one destroy it? Simple. You don't. Rather, you find some way to halt the cycle of rebirth. A way to defeat Ganondorf without an Ocarina of Time seal or Twilight Princess death. Breath of the Wild 2's trailer shows a mummified corpse of Ganondorf held in place by the seal. Given how the highest concentration of malice is at Hyrule Castle, and that Calamity Ganon is seen surrounding it, this chamber may be deep below the sanctum. Once this seal is broken, malice fills the body of Ganondorf and he is revived. The preservation of his body, apparent through its mummification, implies that he was kept alive all these years. The time of his sealing must have predated 10,000 years, with the birth of the first calamity in Impa's story. What we see in the trailer perfectly fits the criteria for this theory. An attempt to keep Ganondorf sealed within the physical world, putting a stop to the cycle of rebirth, and therefore the curse of demise. What the royal family didn't account for was the deep hatred of the Demon King, one that would fester for thousands of years, overflowing to a point beyond their control. Soon, this seal put on Ganondorf would break. Like a nuclear reactor, this sudden release of energy would be catastrophic, giving birth to what may be the most powerful form of Ganondorf we've seen. One that will make an appearance in Breath of the Wild 2. The malice we see in the trailer is different to the stuff from the first game, a highly concentrated substance which spreads out like tendrils, a hatred which never perishes and only grows stronger with the passing of time. Hyrule's fate was sealed the moment those tried to change it.
One often meets his destiny on the road he takes to avoid it.
The concept of Force is brought up within several Zelda games. It goes by many names: the Light Force of Minish Cap, said to exist within Zelda, Life Force within Phantom Hourglass, which created the Sand of Hours, consumed by Bellum, and Force Gems, byproducts of feelings of gratitude in Spirit Tracks, similar to Gratitude Crystals of Skyward Sword. These are said to be sacred powers within all living things, and in the Japanese version, the Light Force, Life Force, and Force Gems all translate to Force. Breath of the Wild introduces us to Ancient Energy, a blue liquid which powers the Sheikah technology. Pools of the substance appear in 3 locations: East Necluda, Deep Akala, and beneath Hyrule Castle. This energy had to have existed for 10,000 years as it powers the technology, and if Ganondorf is sealed under the castle, perhaps he is key to understanding the Sheikah relics. Could the green energy emanating from the hand be his life force, sapped from his body and used to power the shrines and towers? While it's true that this energy differs in color, we have proof of life force being used to power the technology. Link is able to use the one-hit obliterator at the cost of his hearts. In other words, his life force. Each divine beast, for some unexplained reason, requires a champion to control it. With the existence of guardians which act as autonomous weapons, this detail seems rather off. Perhaps the champions were needed as a power source. Rivali states in his journal that to pilot a divine beast, one requires something beyond skill. They say one's soul must contain an incredible sacred power for a divine beast to recognize them as master. Looking back at the trailer, there is another possibility. It's similar to the Ganon battery theory, but with a twist. One detail easily missed is this single strand of malice which flows upward into the ceiling. It's separate from the rest which flow from the body in multiple directions. Clearly this one is of some importance. The seal itself spirals upwards, making a funnel-like shape. In the dead center, that single strand of malice. Instead of simply being a seal, is the green energy being used to direct this malice upwards? And for what purpose? One conspiracy theory is that Calamity Ganon was orchestrated by the Sheikah, and that there's more to what happened 10,000 years ago. While that does sound like an interesting plot, it's not based on any concrete evidence. Similar to the life force theory, perhaps this malice was purified and transformed into the blue liquid seen in Breath of the Wild, and used to power the technology. What's strange is just how easy it was for Calamity Ganon to take control of the Guardians and Divine Beasts. Masterworks mentions that the pink glow of relics corrupted by Ganon may indicate that malice has flooded their systems in place of ancient energy. If the blue viscous liquid is simply purified malice, it explains why the raw substance could also power the machines. The final detail which makes this possible comes from the trailer. That single strand of malice? From the looks of it, its point of origin is the hand. Why would malice, the source of Ganon's power, be extracted when the goal is to seal his powers? If we tie this back to our ending the cycle theory, it's also possible that this malice was extracted not to be used as a source of power, but an attempt to purify Ganondorf, bringing an end to the cycle of rebirth and curse of demise. Ganondorf can be seen as a victim given the very nature of the curse. Are his actions a result of his own choice, or is he unknowingly a puppet of demise? If the surface was never breached back in Skyward Sword and Ganondorf was still born, would he be the same malevolent being seen across all Zelda titles? A Ganondorf redemption arc would certainly be interesting. However, with the way Nintendo has built up this character, as the ultimate embodiment of evil and a cunning manipulator, I have my doubts. As said previously, if there's one thing the overflow of malice tells us, it's that the hatred of the demon tribe runs so deep that this cycle is doomed to repeat itself. An unchanging variable, leading to the restoration, prosperity, and downfall of the realm. Okay, so I've been re-rendering this episode constantly because I've been doing minor fixes here and there, and this was I was rendering the final version. And I noticed something, and honestly, it kind of blows my mind. This is in regards to the extraction of malice theory. Now, we're at the trailer right now. This is a shot right here on the big screen, and I'm going to go frame by frame and just take a look at the hand. Alright? So, there's this weird thing going on with it. It kind of looks like it's a weird kind of reflection. You know, it's like a shiny object. But, if you notice, this path of whatever is here, it's going upwards. It's always going upwards. If it was more sort of a reflection, then it would be going in multiple directions. But it's obvious, this is all flowing up. Okay? Now, what if this stuff right here, this is malice inside of the hand that's being flowed upward? Remember that one, where is it? Remember this lone malice bit right here, and it looks like it's coming from the hand? Well, close up, what if this is that malice? And if you take a look, each finger is like a tube, and the malice is coming out, and that makes sense, because the malice now is overflowing to the point where around the edges of the hole, it's starting to flow outwards. And that's just because of the buildup. So basically what I'm saying is malice is being extracted from this. These little individual bits that are flowing upwards inside the hand, when you look at them, they are malice. Like, this has to be extracting malice. And honestly, like, my mind's kind of blown right now. And that was a long segment, but I feel like I had to bring this up because this is a big deal, and I only now just realized this. Wow. Nintendo held a GDC panel several years back regarding Breath of the Wild. A particular image was shared, what appears to be Link with a hand that transforms into a variety of tools such as bombs, a bow, and beetle reminiscent of Skyward Sword. More specifically, his right hand, the same one which absorbs the green energy in the sequel's trailer. The Sheikah's technology is not seen within the trailer, none of the shrines or divine beasts are present, and neither Zelda nor Link have the Sheikah Slate. The gameplay mechanics of the first game were heavily focused on the tablet's runes such as Stasis and Magnesis. Perhaps Link's right hand will be the source of his items and tools used to progress through the game's many puzzles and dungeons. A couple of other details worth mentioning. Given how the green energy is coming from the hand holding Ganondorf down, it's possible that at one time there was a whole person sealing the Demon Cane, and the energy spiraling away is a representation of not only the seal weakening, but this person's body literally dissolving, up until the present day, where all that remains is a single hand. Upon closer inspection, I noticed that more holes appear on Ganondorf's body. Judging from the shape of them, it matches those created by the grasping hand, and its capability of making decisions, for example, how it most likely saves Link from falling, might mean that it's a new companion character, like Eslo of Minish Cap or the King of Red Lions from Wind Waker. My current theory is that the seal of Ganondorf was broken early due to the hand choosing to save Link. Ganon may have caused an earthquake to force the entity to release the seal and save the hero before he fell. It chose Link instead of restraining Ganon because the seal was close to breaking, and Link was the one that was fated to defeat him. Thinking long term, this was the best possible answer, even though it did mean the return of the Gerudo Cane. And that's my analysis of the seal seen within the trailer. I hope you all enjoyed this revisit to Breath of the Wild 2's teaser. It's been a while since I've discussed it. There are a couple other videos planned in which we'll further discuss what's shown off in this footage, so stay tuned for that. Let me know what your thoughts are on the hand and whether it's good or evil. Links to my Twitter and Discord will be down below, and as always, thanks to my patrons. I've been NintendoBlackCrisis, and I'll see you all next time.